What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Waters. Welcome to nolifetilmetal. It's time for another rock metal update. That's right, it's time for another rock and metal update. Last one I did was all metal. This is going to be all hard rock, 70s rock, 70s sounding rock, some of it. But yeah, I'm going to get right into this. Not a whole lot to show. I've got about 10 records here, but it's just all great stuff. So you might recall in the recent video I did of the most tore up records in my collection. It was, I don't know, Give Me 10, I think we called the video. I showed Budgie's first album, and somebody kindly reminded me that it was reissued and is available on Amazon in the United States now. So I picked up a copy for, I think it was under 20 bucks. So really glad to have this. It's a repressing, but it sounds fantastic. It was pressed in 2014. Glad to have this. I mean, this thing hasn't been pressed since what, 1971 was the first pressing, and maybe the only pressing. So finding copies in decent condition was impossible. So I'm glad this was finally repressed. Great album. I would actually call this heavy metal, but you know, it's 70s heavy metal. And this is out around the same time as, you know, Black Sabbath and Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin and all those bands that were, you know, formed in the early, in the late 60s, just like Budgie were. They were a power trio, although they didn't start off as such. And of course, Burke Shelley, vocals, bass, Meltone, is the main character here. He was the main guy in Budgie throughout all the years. So, but anyhow, great album from the first wave of British heavy metal, Budgie, 1971. Glad to finally have a copy in my collection. Next up, I got to get in for the kill. This next one was actually a heads up from Brother Greeno, who we were discussing. I can't remember if it was on the phone or text or something like that. We started talking about bands like Bang, and then from there it went into Sir Lord Baltimore. Then he sent a band. Have you ever heard Thunderhead? No, I had not. So I found this cheap copy. It is a little tore up. The cover is a little tore up. It's got seam splits and cuts and a little bit of water damage, but it was cheap and I wanted to check them out. So I did. Very good stuff. I love the cover art. At first it looks very simple, just like a cloudy sky with thunder and lightning, but it's actually got the shape of, you know, angel's wings, and really cool. But anyhow, these guys don't sound anything like Sir Lord Baltimore or Bang, so I'm not sure how the connection became between all those. But regardless, we got some heavy hard rock from the 70s. This would have been, what, 75, 74, somewhere in that area, I believe. But it's just really heavy, almost southern rock, right along the lines of like Blackfoot, or maybe like a heavier Molly Hatchet, not heavier Molly Hatchet, but I don't know. Check them out on YouTube. They have their own sound. You know what? I'm just going to again throw a little clip of that in right here.
Sing your
there you go. That's Thunderhead. ABC Records from 1975. Gonna keep my eye out for a better copy. Like I said, this one's not in the greatest condition, but it plays fine, and I just want to check them out. So I don't want to pay, you know, $30 for a record that I wasn't interested in. So glad to have this copy. Sorry, stuffy. Allergies are driving me crazy. This is the second album from The Gods. I actually never heard this second album. I've only ever heard the first album, which I love. I still need to get it. I don't have the first Gods record. But Nothing Is Sacred is a little bit different. A little more boogie rock, almost like a Foghat or... yeah, Foghat's a good comparison. Kind of, you know, that 70s boogie rock, biker metal kind of stuff. Status Quo would be another one to compare them to. It's a good record, but I still think the first album was a little heavier, a little better. But regardless, Casablanca Records from 1979, this was. Classic album from The Gods. This next one was from a gift from my buddy Bill Baffert, who went to a store and grabbed this for me knowing that I would dig it, and he was right. This is Genesis Live, one of many copies of Genesis Live that I have. This is what, an Italian pressing, and it's got a different cover than the other 2 or 3 versions of Genesis Live that I have. Record's in really, really good condition. I listened to it. It sounds great, plays great. The covers, it's got a little bit of wear, as you can see on the top, but not a whole lot. It just has some age to it. Anyhow, classic prog rock from Peter Gabriel era of Genesis, early 70s, I believe it was like, what, 71 or 72, somewhere in that area. Great stuff. I love early Genesis with Peter Gabriel. That's him right there with his flower head costume. This next one is not from the 70s, but it is a 70s band and it's 70s recordings. This is Kiss. This is a bootleg called Diamond and the Dust. This was given to me by a buddy just out of the blue as a gift, which was really, really cool of him. I don't want to say his name on camera because I didn't ask him first if I could. But regardless, this is got what, 4 or 5 songs on each side. So you've got Room Service from 75, Love Theme from Kiss from 74, You're Much Too Much, I'm sorry, You're Much Too Young, Live, 1976, Strutter and Harlock Woman from 1976 as well, Ladies in Waiting from 75, Watching You, Peter Criss Drum Solo, and Flaming Youth, New Jersey, 1976, and then ending off with Deuce from 1978. So it's a compilation of live bootleg material. Sound quality is, you know, up and down as you might expect. It's not terrible. It's not, you know, album quality either. It's a bootleg. I do collect Kiss bootlegs, so very cool to have this. It is on blue vinyl, like it says up here, and basically a collection of material from 74 to 78. That picture, of course, being taken from the Kiss Alive 2 at record. Anyhow, cool album, cool gift. Thank you very much. This next one is not a 70s album, but has a 70s connection and kind of a 70s sound. This is Hollywood Vampires. This is basically I don't want to call it a best of, but a super group comprised mainly of Alice Cooper as the vocalist, Joe Perry as the one of the 2 guitar players, along with Johnny Depp, and those are the 3 main characters. But there's a ton of other people on here. There's a whole big backstory behind who and what the Hollywood Vampires are. It dates all the way back to the 70s, to the Rainbow Club in Hollywood, where the Hollywood Vampires were formed, and Alice Cooper was the president of them, and people like John Lennon, and there's just so many different people that were involved in that Hollywood Vampires movement. Anyhow, if you want to, I'll try to remember a link. There's a Captain Handlebar's channel. He did a whole history of the Hollywood Vampires and how this album came to be and what all the songs are. And they're basically dedicated to a lot of the people that were part of the Hollywood Vampires. Keith Moon was a big part of the Hollywood Vampires. So of course there is a cover of The Who in here, My Generation. You got A Whole Lot of Love from Zeppelin. Let's see, Jeepster, which of course was Mark Bolan. T-Rex, Mark Bolan was also part of that. Manic Depression, Jimi Hendrix. And there's a few originals on here too, but yeah, a little bit of everything on here. Very cool album. I've been holding off getting this because I'm just not hugely into the whole, you know, compilation of or supergroup kind of things. one-off projects, but I'm a huge Alice Cooper fan, and I'll basically buy anything from Alice Cooper. Also a huge Aerosmith fan. This has Joe Perry on it, so surprisingly very good record, though. It wasn't generic sounding in the least, which I kind of was what I was expecting. Quite enjoyed it. I need to give it a few more listens. I only heard it once, but the time I did hear it, it sounded great. So Hollywood Vampires. Again, I'll try and leave the link to Captain Handlebar's channel on my down below in the comments. Next up, this is the second album from Black Country Communion. Again, this album is definitely not 70s. This is what, 2011? Yeah, 2011. This of course was their second album. And after this, the band departed and went their separate ways. A couple of the guys forming in other bands, but basically who you have here is Lake Sleeves. Make a funky noise, huh? Joe Bonamassa on guitar. Let's see, where is he? There he is. Joe Bonamassa. You've got Derek Sherinian, who was part of Dream Theater. You've got Glenn Hughes, of course, Deep Purple. And then you've got Jason Bonham, who, of course, has been in many bands, but is the son of Led Zeppelin drummer John Bonham. So I guess it was Joe Bonamassa who decided to call it quits, and then a couple of the guys went on to continue the band with a different name. But this is good stuff. I love Glenn Hughes' voice. I have a ton of his solo material. I love the stuff he did with Tony Iommi, with and without the Black Sabbath moniker. He's just got a killer voice. And he's a great bass player as well. This is actually a gift as well from my friend, and I'm sure he won't care if I say his name, but it's Marty Phillips. Marty, who's a friend of mine on Facebook. He does not do videos, so I was very pleased to get this. Kind of a birthday present, so very awesome. So, Black Country Communion. Communion 2. Let's see what else we got here. Last two records. Been showing a lot of this band recently, only because I've just been stumbling across them recently for good prices. I'm not a huge fan of this band, but I do like them. Some albums better than others. This being one of the ones that I really like. I think this is one of their better albums. 1978, I believe this is. Might have been 79, but this is Washes Whiter Than from Petra. Now, this is when Petra weren't all glossy, AOR-ish. This is more organic. More straightforward rock and roll. I wouldn't even call this hard rock. It's just straightforward, 70s rock. But yeah, it's a good album. I really enjoy this, and I always like the cover too. Always thought it should have been have a corner cut right here, but whatever. Some decent or some well-known songs on here is Morning Star, Yahweh Love. That's a really big one. Magic Mirror, Deep Love. Anyhow. Petra, Washes Whiter Than, and then also this is one that I always love the album cover in this one, and I like the music on this one. Again, this is pre-glossy. This is just straightforward rock, even hard rock at times. But this is Never Say Die, which is the title track is a killer song. I always love this album cover. Kind of has a similar feel to Boston with their guitar spaceship, and here we got a guitar. I don't know, warship, I guess you'd call it, battleship. Anyhow, great album. I believe this was the introduction of, no, I'm sorry, this is Greg Volz on lead vocals. And Bob Hartman is the main, key ingredient here, main songwriter, and he's just a great guitar player. So there you go, a couple from Petra, and that is my 70s rock and metal update. Hope you enjoyed this one. Leave a message below, let me know what you think of these albums, and very shortly I will be coming back with an all-metal update for the month of April, maybe May by the time I get to it. I've got a few other videos I want to get done as well, so I really appreciate you all watching. So glad that you enjoy the channel. I really enjoy conversing with you guys when you leave me messages, and appreciate it. So that's it. God bless. Stay strong.